The Watership Down podcast is intended for listeners who are familiar with the plot. There will be spoilers. This episode is scripted, narrated, recorded and edited by Newell Fisher. Hello, and welcome to the Watership Down podcast episode 189, in which we will be looking at the second 10-minute segment of the fourth and last episode of the 2018 Netflix version of Watership Down. But first, I do need to mention the commentary on each episode that is happening on the YouTube channel at the moment, mainly involving Sean Higgins from the US and Eric Steps from Germany, both of whom have been major contributors to the podcast itself in the past. Over the last few weeks, I've been focusing on getting the main content out due to my current health issues, but I feel it is only right to point out their ongoing commentary on the miniseries. Well worth checking out. Anyway, let's get back to our favourite Down, where all is at peace. Netflix miniseries, Episode 4, Part 2. The Great Patrol. Part 2 of Episode 4, The Siege, runs from 11 minutes 20 to 19 minutes 30, and the reverse timings are 38 minutes 50 to 30 minutes 40. The equivalent chapters from the book are Chapter 42, News at Sunset, 43, The Great Patrol, and 44, A Message from El Herrera. All is well on Watership Down. Strawberry is flirting with Bigwig. Blackavar joins 3 other rabbits to watch the sunset. The next day there is a sense of playfulness as the new arrivals get used to their newfound freedom. Hazel and Clover share a romantic moment. Bluebell returns to his favourite pastime of winding up Blackberry, and Hawkbit and Dandelion return to their favourite pastime of making fools of themselves by competing for the same dough. In this case, Strawberry, who gently rejects them both, especially after Hawkbit mentions how they'll be snapped up with all the extra doughs around now. Dandelion, who has been a bit of a non-entity in this version after having his storytelling role taken away, admonishes Hawkbit for his clumsiness. As evening draws near, Blackavar and Holly give some does a lesson in using their sense of smell. He seems to have been Owsler at some point in the past. He asks Clover to say what she can smell. She says she can smell chestnuts and, unsurprisingly, rabbits. She hesitates. She can smell lots of strange rabbits. Blackavar and Holly sniff the air. A pulsing, tense tone begins to play in the background. Holly calmly asks the does to all go underground. There has been no mouse here to warn of what is coming, as in the book, but cinematically this is a superb moment of tension. We do not yet see the approaching menace, just the brow of the hill and some birds being startled from behind it. The menacing, pulsing tone grows stronger. We see Hazel, Bigwig, Fiver and Holly cautiously scouting out what is approaching. They see a large group of rabbits. It is, of course, the Ephrath and Owsler. Bigwig suggests they get everyone at Silflay underground and into the honeycomb. Hazel tells Holly to do this. He then tells Bigwig to get Strawberry to collapse all the entrances except 2 they call the Wood Run and the Big Route. He tells Bigwig he is going to buy them some time. Bigwig realises what Hazel intends to do and begs him not to, but Hazel tells him to go. Fiver asks if he can help. Hazel asks if he can make any sense of his visions of a hoodoo and ropes, but he cannot. Hazel tells him to get back and try to keep everyone calm. The conversation between Hazel and Woundwort that follows is very true to the book, though this Woundwort is more mocking of Thlaley after Hazel simply confirms he is a friend of his, meaning that Hazel's ambiguous statement seems a little more challenged here. Hazel's response is to show a little more tactical awareness of what the Ephrathans intended that might be wise for a rabbit who is pretending not to be chief. He should ascribe what he says to his chief to be safe, but sticks to not actually lying to Woundwort, even though doing so would be completely justified in the circumstances. And then Hazel makes his offer to Woundwort of the joining of the 2 Warrens. the only substantial change to which is Campion saying to Woundwort that it might be worth considering, rather than just offering to kill Hazel. This Campion is a better character at this point than in the book, though speaking like that in front of an enemy isn't perhaps the most appropriate behaviour for an Owsla officer. In any case, Woundwort rejects the offer, making it clear they are going to starve the rabbits of Hazel's warren. He tells the parting Hazel he looks forward to meeting his chief rabbit again. As Hazel leaves, Woundwort orders his Owsla to guard the open holes of the enemy warren. Nothing is to leave the warren and live. It is later in the honeycomb. Hazel, standing on a small platform, is explaining that they are to be under siege. Each of the 3 holes is to be guarded. Anyone not wanting to fight should stay in the honeycomb. Bigwig makes a disdainful comment about this, telling those that do to line up behind him. Blackavar intervenes, saying they need to leave now. He has experienced an Efrafan siege in the past. Hazel points out the futility of trying to escape the Efrafan Owsla. Those who want to leave can, but where else do they plan to go? This is his home and he will defend it. After a pause, Hazel's battle orders follow. The first part of the battle is going to be more dynamic than in the book, with actively defended holes rather than just waiting in the honeycomb. We should expect no less in the age of Netflix, I suppose. Hawkbit and Dandelion will defend the wood run entrance. Holly, Hyzenthley and Blackavar will defend the big root entrance. He tells Bigwig and Blackberry to go with him. It is night time now. The Efrafan Great Patrol approaches the warren on Watership Down silently, but without any attempt at concealment. We can see rabbits in one of the entrances ahead. 2 groups of Efrafans break off to the left and right flanks. Hawkbit is moaning about how he will get killed, and Strawberry will end up with Dandelion, though one of her kittens will be called Hawkbit to remind her of what it could have been. Dandelion says he will kill him himself if he doesn't shut up. At another entrance we see Hazel. He looks out at the Efrafans and pulls down the roof, meaning only 2 entrances are open now. Holly is with Hyzenthley. They are watching the movements of the Efrafans. He says how all he wanted to do was make her smile when she arrived on the down. Now he fears he may not get the chance. She asks how he planned to do that. He had thought of telling her how much he respected her, but then he just decided to tell her how beautiful he thought she was. They nuzzle their heads together in affection. And that is where we leave the action for now. All is quiet on the Watership Down front. Comparison with the book. The brief scenes of happiness and flirtation on Watership Down take the place of the telling of the tale of Rowsby Woof, though it is still sad to see Dandelion reduced from the role of storyteller to clumsy suitor, with Hawkbit as his inept companion. The loss of the mouse informing the rabbits of Watership Down of the approaching Efrafans, as happens in the book, is entirely tolerable, as this version's approach is very tense and effective, with the music really adding to the sudden sense of dread. The account of the Great Patrol arriving at Watership Down is missed out, though the meeting in Efrafa that led to it appeared in the previous segment. Hazel's meeting with Woundwort is very true to the book, though the more insulting Woundwort, and Hazel's subsequent orders on returning to the warren convey his authority very well. And it's about time with this Hazel. In the book it was sufficient for the rabbits to blockade themselves in the honeycomb and hope for the best, as we could be party to the discussions and inner thoughts of both them and the Efrafans. There, the only attack and defence was the early attempt by Groundsel to dig his way in, which is met by a vigorous and painful defence from Blackavar. Here it is apparent that the battle will be more dynamic, with 2 runs left open and actively defended. We shouldn't really expect anything else in the age of Netflix, and to be fair, the miniseries has started to redeem itself a little after the loss of the escape down the river test. Overall then, a promising start to this version's account of the climax of the story, and a real palpable sense of the calm before the storm. Next time, the Battle of Watership Down begins.